Good morning and happy Mother's Day to you, my beautiful mama. I hope you have an amazing day. We have a special little video surprise for you.
Mama, it's your one and only handsome boy, as you call me, checking in on Mother's Day 2026. Happy Mother's Day, Mama. You know, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be a mom. So I'm kind of a big deal. So I want to kind of thank myself for making you a mom so you can be the great mom that you are. It didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I love you.
Happy Mama's Day, Mom. We're making little videos because we love you. Let's see, one thing that you've taught me that I'll remember forever is that everything is negotiable. It's one of my favorites. And that being a woman is nothing but a blessing, and it makes me powerful.
One thing that you've taught me that I will remember forever is how to pray. You know the story. I remember when I was very little and I would walk into your room and see you praying, kneeling on that little prayer pillow that you had by your window, and I remember Bay being on point when you would pray, which is so wild. He sensed that you were praying. I remember that moment when I thought I saw an angel standing beside you. But I also remember as I got older, the times when you would take me to Capital Christian Center and the sanctuary would be closed and we would go in and all the lights were off and you would take me to the altar so that we could pray together. At the time, I didn't think it was very cool. I kind of thought it was boring. But looking back, that was pretty phenomenal that you would take me with you to pray at the altar. And then into adulthood, I just remember times talking to you on the phone and hearing you just cry out to God with all of your might and soul and just praying for everything that you were carrying. And you taught me how to pray. And I think it was something that was generationally passed down from our grandmother to you. And then now my kids get to see me pray, and that is something that you've taught me that I will never forget, and hopefully it will pass on to Zoe and the boys as well. Okay, one other thing I do need to add that you taught me that I'll never forget is how to make a bed. Also, at the time, I was so bothered as a teenager that I had to come help make your bed after you made me make my bed, and I thought that wasn't really fair. But into adulthood, when I would make my bed, I would think about you every time, and I would miss you, and I would wish that you were on the other side of the bed, making it and pulling the sheets on the other side and making it easier, because it's easier to make a bed with two people than it is to make it with one. And you would be proud that I taught Noah how to make a bed, and when he makes his bed, it looks so good, and he knows how to fluff the pillows, and he knows how to pull back the sheet, and he knows how to tuck everything. And every time we make the bed together, I think about how I used to make the bed with you.
Something that you taught me that I'll never forget, I would say that I deserve the best, never settle for less than the best, and go out and get what you want. That's been instilled in me from you since I was a kid. I got the bug from you. We like nice things, we deserve nice things, and we shouldn't be afraid to go out and get what we want. You're a big part of my ambition and my drive, Mom. Thank you for that.
What I admire most about you is your perseverance when it comes to any goal that you want to attain. You don't give up. You'll always push until you've achieved that goal, and it's really admirable.
One thing that I've always admired about you, Mama, is your generosity. You have always been so giving, and not just in the little things, which the little things matter, but you're an extravagant giver. You're generous with your time, and you're generous with your money, and you're generous with the thoughtful gifts that you give. And whenever you see somebody in need, you just pass it along. And I remember there would be times when I would come in town to visit, And I would be like, oh, Mama, I like your necklace. And then you'd be like, oh, Mija, you can have it. It would just like immediately, I feel like you would give the shirt off your back to anybody who needs it. And I've always admired that about you. And you've been a teacher to me in that aspect. And there have been times when I remember one time in particular, somebody complimented my necklace and I thought about you and I took it off and I was like, here, you can have it. And I gave them the necklace and it was really in honor of you. I didn't say like, my mom taught me to do this, but I gave it to them. And like some years later, I ran into that person and they were like, I still have the necklace that you gave me and I'll never forget that you just gave it to me when I complimented you. And I think at that moment I shared with her, like, I learned that from my mom. She was always so generous. And so I really admire that about you, Mama.
What do I admire most about Mom? Well, Mom, there's a lot to admire. And I would think, number one, the way you love us unconditionally, each of us. You love each of us different, but the same way I love my girls. I admire your patience and your strength, Mom. You're a big part of my ambition in life. I hear your voice in my head all the time. And I thank you for the way that you've loved us, Mom. And I admire your heart.
My favorite memory with you, this is a very silly one, and I don't know if you're going to remember this, but we volunteered to do some sort of work at Bradshaw, and they left me and you in a room. I think it was for like jogathon or something. And we sat in that room folding letters and laughing so hard that somebody came in and was like, you guys are having way too much fun. I love that memory so much because it's a representation of our friendship and our relationship. But my second, I have to say this one, is when you got blown away by that thing, by that big fan at the airport. That is my favorite memory.
My favorite memory with you, Mom, is all of the times that we were in the car together. You were driving and I was in the passenger seat, and you would hold my hand and ask me to sing for you. And then we would have like a little worship session. I have these memories of being on the freeway on the way home and you just kind of spontaneously being like, sing me a song. And I felt like we bonded over that, and you were the first person who ever noticed that I loved to sing, and you were the first person who ever just believed in me, really, and said, Mija, you can do that, and you're really good at that. And you spoke life to me in that area, and I feel like we bonded in a really special way every time we were on those car rides singing together.
My favorite memory with my mama. Man, Mom, we can start with tuna fish sandwiches and I Love Lucy. Me getting whiplash for asking for a second hash brown. Getting yelled at because the gas station attendant only gave us $2 when I gave him $3, and we still joke about it to this day. Give me my dollar. But I think some of the favorite times is just in the small moments that you and I get to spend time together, going on our mother-daughter dates. And I know that our time together is special each time. So thank you, Mom. Favorite memory? Man, there's so many. I'll leave it at that.
One thing that you do that it's really important is any event to celebrate the people you love, you put 110% effort in. And you make it a point to make sure that they feel loved and appreciated for that event, whether it's like birthdays, graduations, holidays, Christmas, whatever. Like, it means so much to feel important. And you very much do that.
One of the things that you do that really matters, that you may not even realize it matters so much, is the fact that you are always on the side of the underdog. I feel like you care about the plight of people. You care about people who are oppressed. You care about people who have gone through hardships, people who are experiencing grief or loss. You care about people who don't have a safe home or a family that is loving and accepting. Anybody that's going through anything challenging, your heart just like swells and just grows for those people. And then you just welcome them in, and you give the person a job who's struggling financially. You're like, I can hire you. Or you give the person a meal and a seat at the table who's been feeling lonely. Or you give the person who's grieving a shoulder to cry on. I feel like people that need to vent, you're like, ¿cuál es el chisme? You're just like that person who's just safe, and you just care. And I think that really, really matters, and it impacts people, and people feel safe around you. And man, I remember years ago, like when you were in women's ministry, you would go into like a random public bathroom and somebody would just like pour out their heart and their life story to you, and you'd come out like, that lady just told me everything about her. Like, I don't even know that lady. But you would just have like, you would give off like an air of like safety, like you're a safe person and you care, and you're always like just there for whoever's down and out, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to lift them up. And one example is when my back broke and I was in the hospital, and you just dropped everything and you were like, I'm gonna go be with my girl, and you came out and flew out, and you were laying with me in the hospital bed. And just that, and there's countless times, you know, like when I've gone through a hard time or just whatever it is, you're like, Mija, what do you need? Like, I'm right there. And you're just, you're everybody's greatest cheerleader, I feel like, especially when they're going through the hardest times in their life. And that really, really, really matters. And your life impacts people deeply in that way.
Something that you do that's really important, that matters, that you might not realize. You're a very intentional person, and so it's hard for me to think that you don't realize you're doing this, but your prayers for me and my family, your unconditional love, Mom, your support. I don't know if you quite know how important your vote for me is, and how important your thoughts are to me, Mom. Your boy still wants to make you proud, even though I'm almost 50 years old. It's important to me.
The thing I would like to thank you for is just always being open-minded to me, and always being so accepting. Dang, I'm gonna cry. And being truly just showing up as a good mother who loves me. And like, you really have always seen me for who I am in my heart. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
There's two things that I really want to say thank you for. One is, whenever I was a teenager and I was going to get dropped off somewhere, you always reiterated to me that you would come and pick me up, and I could be safe no matter what. Just no questions asked, no matter what time of day or night. You always let me know that there was a way out if I was in a challenging situation, or if I didn't feel comfortable. You were just like, Mija, you know, you can call me anytime if I'm spending the night somewhere, or if I'm at a party or hanging out with a friend, or just whatever the situation. You were just like, you know, you can get out of any situation. And I think that just taught me freedom, that I didn't ever have to feel afraid of being stuck anywhere. And thank you so much for that, because that actually translated, number one, into how I'm parenting my kids, letting them know, like, you know, wherever you are, you can find a phone and call Mom. Like, Mom's going to be there. I'll pick you up. That always made me feel safe and protected and cared for. But it also translated into adulthood in any time that, like, circumstances where you're kind of like, I'm stuck in whatever the life situation is. Your messaging flowed into those other areas for me to feel like, no, like there's always a way out. Angie said that one thing that you taught her she'll never forget is that everything is negotiable, and that is just so true. Everything is negotiable except the Word of God, although nowadays people say the Word of God is also negotiable. But yeah, just the fact that you always taught me that there was a way out has really served me well in my life and always made me feel safe. The second thing that I want to thank you for is giving me confidence, because you have been a steady voice in my life from childhood into adulthood. You've made me feel confident, and so when the winds and waves of the world wanted to come crashing against me, and when maybe people gossiped about me or maybe hurtful things were done or said, I always landed back on the fact that Mama has given me confidence. And you may not even realize that you've done that, and I don't even know if I can add up what combination of mothering and parenting you did that equaled out to me being a confident person. But I wholeheartedly believe that your steady presence in my life and the mother bond that you gave to each of us is what resulted in that, in us being well-rounded adults, because we know that we have a safe place to land in our mama. And so thank you so much for all that you've done for us in those ways.
Mama, I have so much to be thankful for when it comes to you. You've done an amazing job of being a mother. I thank you for your love, for your prayers, for your attention to each of us. And one thing is your motherly intuition. When your kids are up or down or need a hug. And I'm just thankful for who you are in my life, and I'm thankful for our relationship.
I think the thing that's changed the most since we've gotten older is that our friendship has gotten so much closer. We've always been really close, but I feel like the older I get, the more I can actually not only have a great mother, but have a really good friend. And yeah, other than that, we've just been this way for a minute. But I love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for being a good mom to all three of us and to the people who don't have moms. We love you so much. We appreciate you. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful Mother's Day.
I think one way that you've changed as we've grown is that you have just become more and more of yourself, which is awesome. And what I mean by that is you are unapologetic about the things that you're passionate about how you feel, about what makes you angry or injustice, or about what makes you laugh and what you get a kick out of. And back in the day, it was a funny joke in our family that we always laughed about how you would put on your Capital Christian voice on the phone depending on who you were talking to. We could tell who you were talking to if we walked in the room, and it was like, oh, she's talking like a Capital Christian lady. But as the years have gone on, I think you have just embodied who you truly are more and more, and you're kind of you've entered into this era of I don't care what other people think about me, and this is who I am, and this is how I feel, and this is what I think, and this is what I believe. And honestly, I think that your authentic self is the greatest gift to everyone around you. And watching you just grow in that has been really, really cool over the years as we've entered into adulthood. And then I think you'll always be in the dynamic of you're our mama and we're your pollitos, but I think that there is this dynamic of friendship that ends up coming into play more so than when we were kids, because you had to be mom and we had to be kids, But now it's you're the mom who's also the friend who can be super real and raw, and we just love to be able to embrace all of who you are, and yeah, that's just like a gift to everybody around you.
How has Mama changed as we've grown? I think we're the ones that have changed. You have been consistent, and I think that your love and prayers are the backbone of our family. So instead of pointing out what has changed, I'd like to thank you for being so consistent in your love and support for each of us. I love you, Mama.